All right, I hope everyone is back. We will now continue and we'll move on with our next speaker. Our next speaker is Bella Yang. If you could just go ahead, and if you have a presentation, I will stop sharing my screen.
Hi everyone. Thank you guys for sticking around until now. I'll be sharing my screen right now, and just give me a second. Okay. Not this one. Okay. Can you guys see it? Okay, so thank you guys for coming, and today I'll be talking about a guide to university application. And in my case, because we have the topic of software engineering, software technology today, so it will be a software technology related program edition. So first, I would like to introduce myself. I am personally a Chinese international student. I came from Suzhou, Jiangsu 3 years ago, and I worked as the head of public relations at YSBC from last September, and I'm also a grade 12 student at Lister College and Institute. So yeah. And today I'll be dividing my presentation into 4 sections. First is about application, so school and program choices. And next we have supplemental process, and then grades and extracurricular tips. So first, let's take a look at some of the programs that I applied to, if you guys are curious. And these programs are basically a lot of basically every single program that I found that's related to software and programming, except for Carleton. So in most of the cases, when you get into the program, it is a direct entrance. So it means that during the 4 years, you're basically studying the whole program. But for programs such as Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Applied Science in University of British Columbia, for Engineering McMaster and Engineering Western, it is a general program. So after your first year, you'll be applying to another program using the grades that you get from first year. That's the case for UBC, but I'm not too sure if you get if you're insured to get into the next program for McMaster and Western. Okay, so before we jump into actual application, there is a website that I highly recommend you to check out. It's the Ontario University Information website. And when you type in the program and the university that you want to get into, you can see that like the grade range that you're being asked to have if you're thinking about going to that program. And also there will be some requirement informations and admission rate. So it's a really useful website. I use that to do my research before I apply to any university. So next, I would like to introduce OUAC. This is the website that most Ontario University, actually all Ontario University use for applicants from all around the world to apply to Ontario University. And for Ontario student, we get our OUAC number starting from mid-October to mid-November. And once you have that information, you can log into their website and register for accounts so that you can choose the programs that you want to get into. I attached a link here for the tutorial that I followed when I was applying. So I'll be linking this slideshow later with you guys so you can check out that. And for OUAC application, I would like to think about that as adding programs to your cart as if you're doing online shopping. You basically go through all the programs and choose the one that you liked. In the end, if you have a budget, you will need to make some comparison between different programs and choose the one that you actually wanted. But in my opinion, I don't think that you should be too hesitant with choosing programs. In my case, I would highly recommend you to choose as many programs as possible. It's $50 per program, but you get a lot of happiness when you receive the offer. And that's for Ontario universities. It's a bit different for UBC because it's in the BC province, and the UBC application starts around October, November, but it ends in January 15th. And Ontario students can only apply once we have our OUAC number. So yeah, and once you if you wanted to apply to UBC, you're going to their website and you register for an account and you start your application journey. The thing for UBC is you will be answering the supplemental question before you deposit the application fee. And we will talk about early admission deadline with every single program later. So for the supplemental application process, this is the thing that most guidance counselor didn't talk about when I was in high school. And I highly recommend you to pay attention right now so you know what to do when you're doing these applications. In Canada, we don't actually need reference letter to apply to any Canadian programs. We will only be answering questions and doing some video interviews if we are applying to engineering. And these applications are usually due in February. So what should we know and what should we do in our written paragraphs? So first, there is a mistake that I want to talk about that most people should avoid is that we shouldn't include any information that is already in our application, such as I got like a 97 is this in this course, or my name is whatever, or which area I was from, because those are the information that they already knew, and they're more interested about how you get that high grades and what kind of soft skills do you have. So your perseverance, your adaptability to different environment, your study habits, and also they are really looking forward to your time management skills, because in university we have a heavier workload, so you want to balance your social life and your extracurricular as well as your schoolwork. And please use the word limit wisely, because it's usually only around 300 words to 50 words per question. And after you have written your response, if that is not a time limited question, you can ask the people that you trust to edit your grammar. So for me, for every single application that I went through, I asked my best friend to check my grammar so that I make sure I turn in the best answer. Okay, so let's break down into different sections. So for University of Toronto, for computer science, the early admission deadline is December 10th, which means that you will have to finish all the questions before this deadline to be considered in the first round of admission. And the fourth, a couple questions here is that first, it asks you to talk about how your reaction in a fair or discriminated environment. Second is a personal goal, and then it's leadership role. Last but not least, you will be asked to talk about your impact in organization, community, such as a club, or in this case, my impact in YSBC or different other organizations. Sorry. Okay, so for every single person who's applying to engineering in U of T, we were being asked to do student profile. In this student profile, first we were being asked to talk about what have we done during the pandemic. Now this is a case for our grade because we were being impacted a lot by the COVID-19 situation. I'm not too sure if that will happen next year, but essentially it asked like what have you developed as a person and a student during the pandemic time, and also what kind of new skills or qualities have you developed. And then there's a really important part, which is it asks you to describe your extracurricular activities. So for University of Toronto, it actually asks you to provide reference after every single extracurriculars. So make sure to ask your supervisor or your teachers for their numbers or name ahead so that you can hand in the application on time. I would recommend you to put as many extracurricular as possible, including volunteering, clubs, sports teams, working, tutoring. It doesn't have to be highly connected to your programs. In my case, I even put art club, business club, stuff like that. In my case, I put 29 extracurriculars. So just put as many as possible to make your application outstanding. And then the most important part is a personal profile. You basically log into your website that they want you to log into. And first you will have 10 minutes to do a written response within 250 words. it's also related to your time management, soft skills, or your interest in engineering. Everyone will be giving different questions, but there will be only a couple questions. So, and then next, it is a 2-minute video response. It asks you about your soft skills. And then the third question is the hardest question that I encountered in supplemental application process. This question actually is related to engineering, and they provide you actual engineering scenario for you to come up with a solution. However, any student before they enter the actual engineering courses, they're not expected to giving a perfect engineering solution, and they ask and they're looking forward to knowing your reasoning skills and your thought process the most. So just make sure to talk in a calm manner and give a really logical train of thought. And I thought I messed up in that question, but I got into the program, so don't worry about that too much. And the early admission deadline is December 15th, so make sure to turn your time. And if you want to be considering the first round. For University of Toronto Computer Science in Scarborough campus, there's no supplemental application. And if there is no supplemental application required, it means that it's only looking forward to looking at your marks. Okay, so Waterloo. As Alvin and couldn't remember your name, but as the Waterloo students have mentioned, there is a special marking system called AIF, which is admission information form, and it counts as a mark out of 5.0 and adds to your grade, which this is really important to your admission. And for every single person who's applying to Waterloo, you're being asked for a couple general questions first. And whether if you're applying to the Faculty of Arts, the Faculty of Mathematics, the Faculty of Engineering, you'll be answering these questions first. And so these are the couple questions that I found: reasons for choosing the program and Waterloo, why you choose Waterloo, and then list as many extracurricular activities as possible. In the case of Waterloo, they don't ask for a description or any reference. So you just have to put in the name and how many hours have you contributed to this extracurricular activity. Again, as many as possible. And then additional course information. It asks you to provide the reasons why you choose the courses that you choose in high school. Okay, so for the Faculty of Mathematics, this applies to both the math program and CS programs. So it asks you about your contest marks. It mostly look forward to they mostly wanted to know your Waterloo competition marks, so Euclid, Canadian coding competition, etc. And they will ask if you will participate in future Waterloo competitions. So whether Euclid, CCC, or any other competition, you're being asked to say yes or no if you wanted to do those competitions. And they also ask for other contests. So if you want to do further like hackathons or any other contests from any other universities, you can list them above to talk about your passion and your how you really want to get into these programs. And again, pandemic information, you will be asked to reflect what did you do during quarantine. Okay, for engineering, there's more questions, but it also asks you about your interest, your goals, your programming knowledge. So if you're not applying to software engineering, you are not required to have a solid foundation in programming, but I highly recommend you to learn Python, learn C++, just get to know some programming basic skills ahead. And then there is an optional video interview, but I highly recommend you to do that because they really want to get to know you as a student before they admit you to the program. Okay, for UBC, sorry, there isn't only 2 questions, there's more, but the early admission deadline is December 1st, and you can actually choose 2 programs. So in my case, I chose Bachelor of Science and also Bachelor of Applied Science. So first, it asks you to tell them who you are and what would the people around you describe you as a student? So your family, friends, and members of your community. And then you can talk about what you are most proud of yourself and why. The second question is a really broad question. It talks about what is important to you and why. You can choose to talk about your passion, reason why you want to come into UBC. In my case, I remember that I talk about as a minority Asian student, I wanted to show that I have the ability and skills in terms of programming, that I am equal with every single other student. And I wanted to show that, like, either as an Asian student or international students, I can be as good as any other students. So yeah, I got really emotional when I was writing that. And then it asks you to describe up to 5 activities that you participated, aka extracurriculars. Because this only allows you to put 5 activities, you want to choose the one that relates to the program you choose the most. So either like coding or hackathon, robotic clubs, stuff like that, or any like leadership extracurriculars. And then it asks you to talk about your future plans, stuff like that. For McMaster Engineering, there's also written response and 3 video recordings. My tips for video recording response is that you wanted to finish those questions that are written response ahead if you're applying to any other university. Let's say we finish the AIF for Waterloo first, and then when I came back to McMaster Engineering video recording, I have a clear train of thought of what I wanted to talk about, and I have more that I can give out to you, and I know like the logic that I want to say, the logic of how I wanted to say those things. So, and yeah, so also McMaster Computer Science, no supplemental application needed. Some other programs that I applied to, Western Engineering, there is a Connect profile, which is a place that you can talk about the awards, extracurriculars, and other written questions which can relate to your soft skills. In my case, I didn't had the chance to finish my Connect profile, but I got my offer in early December. So sometimes you might not even have to finish these supplemental application before you go into the program. But yeah, make sure to do those before you get your offers. And for you, Ottawa Computer Science, Queen's Electrical and Computer Engineering, there is no supplemental application. And for McGill, from what I've heard, there is no supplemental application. They care most about your grades. Okay, sorry. That was a bit fast, but let's jump into the grades. So I wanted to be transparent in terms of my grades. So here's all the grades that I have. And my overall average right now is 95.5 to 96. But keep in mind, this is only the average that I have right now. When I was receiving those offers, my average changes from low 90s, 92, 93. I remember when I got my Waterloo software engineering, I only had a 93. So don't panic too much, and make sure to do your best in those supplemental applications. There are a couple frequently asked questions. Do your grade 11 marks matter? Yes. If you haven't taken that course in grade 11, and that course is a required course for a program that you selected, they will look at your grade 11 marks. So in my case, for most engineering programs that I applied to, they require us to have our grade 12 physics grade, but because I was doing that in only the last course master, so they were looking at my grade 11 physics marks. How do I know which courses are required for my program? Search up the university website and also search up on the Ontario University information website. Can I redo a course or can I do summer or night school? Yes, most university don't mind, but from what I've heard, Waterloo doesn't like it. But I guess if you talk about it, if you talk about the reason why you did it in night school or summer school, I think they will understand. Okay, so here are a lot of tips that I can provide you about how can you improve your grades. I only learned those when I was in grade 11. When I was in grade 10, I didn't have a good average. To be honest, my average was around low 80s. And these are the things that I learned. So inside the classroom, remember to sit in the front row, always look into the teacher's eyes, and please don't be afraid to check in with your classmates about your understanding when the class is finished. And also ask your teacher to explain again if the concept is really hard to understand. And also ask the teacher for a retest if the mark is really bad for the majority of the class. Remember, each test plays a very important role in your overall average. So if everybody messed up on one test, that might not be your problem. So ask for a retest. Sometimes the teacher will understand that. So for test, there are a couple tips that I have. Before the test, you want to make yourself very clear and neat review notes, and you wanted to process through your notes again before the test and highlight those concepts that are really important. If you encounter a really hard question during the test, skip and come back at it once you finish the test. But make sure you have enough time after that. So, and also check our answer at least 2 times before you hand it in. Sometimes you might also be unconscious about your answer when you check your answer for the first time. So make sure to check it at least twice. And right after you hand in the test, make sure to check your understanding right after the test to avoid future mistakes. In terms of assignments, please read instructions and rubric clearly before you do the assignments. Don't procrastinate, but please don't turn in too early because you might have new ideas later that you wanted to add into your assignment to make sure it's the perfect piece. And don't turn in your, make sure you hand in your best work because yeah, we're in grade 11, grade 12. Every single assignment and task plays a very important role in our mark. Some extracurriculars that I've been doing are link crew in my school, YSBC, obviously, school dance team, self-life project, as Daniel has mentioned above. Because I am an international student, I don't have the permission to work I don't have the permission to have a part-time job yet, but I've been doing English tutoring for Chinese students. So I also talk about that in my supplemental application process. Also, I was a student ambassador when I was in grade 10, and also I work in Chinese Community Center and also etc. If there is a limit in terms of extracurricular, please pick the one that could show your value and skill that applies to your programs the most. So one of the examples that I can provide is co-head of Girls Who Code Club. It shows that I am really interested in coding and also shows my leadership skills, and I want to become an empowering woman of STEM. Okay, here are some ideas that I have in terms of finding extracurriculars that applies to you. Join a couple school clubs and see which one you like the most and stay consistent with the meetings. Join school clubs, dance teams, sports teams, and any other school activities. Attend voluntary activities, and also if in this case, we are in the middle of pandemic, you can join a lot of online youth organizations such as YSBC, Star of Life Project. YSBC will be actually recruiting after this conference. So yeah, wink, wink. Participate in your school activities, join student council, and start a part-time job. If you have no idea where to start first, you can ask about your friends about what kind of opportunity that they have. If you're in grade 11, grade 12, and you're really comfortable with yourself and you wanted to gain more leadership skills, you can actually start a program, a club, or a team yourself to show that you have really good leadership, organization, and time management skills. If you're applying to Waterloo, they really like you to do some Waterloo contest. Okay, so that was it for my presentation. I hope that they can help you if you're applying to university next year. I'll be linking this slideshow in the chat. And also, if you have any questions or if you're applying to any of these programs, feel free to message me at Bella Yang 1216 and my personal email, bellayang1216@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
One quick thing for all of you guys that want to find this presentation, it'll also be on our Instagram's link tree, YSBC Ottawa. So go check that out and give us a follow and you'll be able to see this there as well.
Sorry, I'll be answering. I'll be answering some questions right now. Okay. Yeah. Someone tell me if the link works. Where do I start? Okay. John asked, how has being an international student affected your high school experience and the transition to university? Obviously, when I first came to Canada in grade 9, I didn't have the best English skills. Actually, I had a lot of difficulty of communication and also understanding the teacher. I remember in grade 9 or grade 10, I can actually only understand maybe like 70 or 80% of what the teacher was talking about. And that actually affects my grades a lot. But when I went into grade 11, I had more chance to yeah, so when I was in grade 11, I know that okay, these marks are actually the most important marks that I'm going to have, and that affects my university application. So I tried my best. I tried to talk with everybody. I tried to study until 3 a.m. every day. Not every day, but like when you have a test, you have to do that. And then before in grade 9, grade 10, I used to sit in the very back of the classroom, but now I always try to go to the classroom early to sit in the front row so I can have really good communication with the teacher. And being an international student, I was really lucky that there are definitely both international student and local student that are helping me. So yeah, and joining organizations such as YSBC really helped me with my soft skills and like time management skills. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the chance to join any like extracurricular that I did.
Well, thank you so much, Bella. We really appreciate it. And
Sorry.
oh, yes, if you guys have any questions, you guys can leave them in the chat. Bella will answer them. And you can also find her contact info on the presentation. Now, at YSBC, we do believe that business is a really important part of all fields and of all professions. So we're going to talk a little bit about some new opportunities that are coming up with us. So Ben, if you want to move to our next slide. So as we know, many of you are interested in different programs and want to invest in your future. So YSBC will be hosting presentations specifically on scholarships and applications now that the academic year is ending. And for those of you in grade 11 and under that are wishing to find out about the application process, similar to what Bella touched on, and as well as the scholarships and funding opportunities available to you, we do have some options moving on in the future. So I'll let Jeffrey continue with that.
Thank you, Daniel. One other important thing is that there's always more scholarships available, but it is up to you to find them. And what we want is we would like to help you find them by providing you guys with scholarship updates. So you guys can scan this QR code or click the link that is sent in the chat to be on our mailing list. It is very easy, and we will not release your email address. We will send you periodically any scholarship updates relating to STEM, business, and art fields.
One key thing to remember here is there are very, very, very many scholarships that are untouched. Millions of dollars of scholarships go untouched every year because people don't know about them. So with this, we hope to provide everyone with ideas as well as opportunities, not only scholarships, but bursaries, grants, talk a little bit about the Ontario Student Assistance Program and government funding as well. So if you guys are interested, like Jeffrey said, please scan the QR code or go in the link in the chat, sign up for those emails. They will really be helpful. And like we said, we hope we'll be able to help you guys with that journey.
Exactly. And we'll provide tips on writing different essays and scholarship information. Thanks. And that's all from us.
All right, thank you, Dan and Jeff. And we'll now move on, as we mentioned earlier, to a Kahoot. We will let Bella take over once more with the hosting of that Kahoot. and there will be prizes, so make sure to participate.
Hello guys. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we will be playing a Kahoot. It's about coding, programming, everything like that. So make sure to pull out your phone, search up on Google Kahoot Live to join our game. And I'll be releasing the code right now. Classic. Okay. Okay, so 422-8781, please join our Kahoot. We will be having prize at the end. These are really relatively simple questions. And speakers, masters, everybody, feel free to join. I'll be waiting for 30 more seconds. Actually, 1 minute. Oh, hey, we have a Travis Scott here. Who wanna be Kylie Jenner? Okay. I'll be counting.
Bella, I think we're good to go.
Okay, sure. Okay, let's get started. YSBC Software Technology Kahoot. 3, 2, 1. Okay, first question. Which of the following language is not case sensitive? Couple more seconds. Okay. So actually, Python, C, and Java are case sensitive. Correct me if I'm wrong though, but. Okay, now we have Gracie at first. Sheesh, second. Who invented the first programming language, which is algorithm or analytical? Ada Lovelace. She is actually a girl, so it's a woman that invented the first programming language, which is pretty cool. Okay, Emily. Which language is used by Apple in their early years of development? Okay. Emily, Gracie, Elaine. What does a class contain? So object-oriented programming. Three, two, attribute and method, essentially variables and functions. Oh, Gracie. Which of the following is not a type of method in class? A type Three, two, one. Yeah, okay, so public, private, and protected are all types of method in class. Protected is not, I made that up. True or false? This is a tricky one. Half of the people think that Java stands for JavaScript. It's a different thing. Okay, Anna, I see you. Which programming language is most Windows software original? Yeah, it's actually C++. This was done by my research. Oh, rock. Which of the following is not a primary data type in C++? Okay, so integer, float, and double, they're all primary data type in C++. Pointer is not. Sheesh is coming up. Which was the first commercially available language? Okay. Fortran stands for formula translation. Travis Scott is coming up. Void data type is used for those functions which does not return a value. Is it correct? Yeah, so if you do void, you either want to print or do other things, but you don't want to have a return data type, a return value. Where could Java be used? Okay, yeah, so Java can be used literally anywhere. So application servers, web application, enterprise application, they all work. Okay, do we have a final question? Yes, we do. What does compiler do in coding? Okay, so it converts source code into binary code or byte code. Okay, now is our time to reveal who won the competition. First, we have Rock. We have Emily. Top one, we have So, Emily, please do not make sure to send in your contact information directly to me so that I can choose gift cards to you. It will all be $10 gift card for Amazon. So make sure to send in your email and name in the chat directly to me. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the ambassadors who help us to recruit members for our conference. I'll stop sharing my screen right now, and
All right. So once again, if you were one of the top 3 in the Kahoot, make sure to either send your information to the YSBC Instagram or to the YSBC email address that you received the link from this morning. A quick, huge thank you to all of the speakers that gave up some of their time and that took time into preparing for this conference. So Dr. Morin, Martin, Sanat, and Alvin and Matthew. Also Bella, Dan, and Jeff. Thank you to you guys for participating. We hope that you guys learned something and enjoyed this conference. And that is all for us. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you guys at our next conference. Ambassadors, if you want to just stay behind 2 minutes, everyone else, thank you so much. That's it for this conference.
Yes, thank you everyone, and we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and that you guys stay safe during these times.
thank you. Bye. And make sure to send